Welcome to the acclaimed podcast, The Deep Dive, featuring your esteemed hosts, Andy Monitor and Drew Dinzik, powered by BetSperts.
Welcome to The Deep Dive. I started doing the welcome and I was muted. I always forget the StreamYard mutes you when a video's playing. But that's all good. I'm a little out of sorts because it's been a day, Andy. Obviously here wearing my Jaguars gold, our AFC AFC title favorites now, Jaguars. You know why I'm saying that, right? You know why I'm saying that, because we are 3 weeks in the AFC. We're outside of the Dolphins. We're 3 weeks into the NFL season, and everybody's hurt. Everybody, if you are a player and you played NFL, you're hurt.
You're injured. Hey, here's some news for you. Are you in the NFL Players Association? You have an injury. There was so.
Are you rostered by an NFL team? Congrats! You get an injury. You get an injury. You get an injury.
Are you on a practice squad? You may be called up this week. No, for sure. Wild week. Obviously, we'll rip through the games right off the top.
Deep breath.
Final.
Atlanta.
Right away, my day. I knew I was going to have a bad day, Drew. I get to softball this morning, and the other team, my 10-year-old, 11-year-old now, the other team, they drove there. Like the kids started getting out of cars, they drove. Like all these kids were like 5'8". The girls throwing 70 miles an hour. It was just a bloodbath. For sure wasn't fair. Under 12. Some real Danny Amante shit. I'm looking at you, Plainview, Elgin, Millville. Either way, fun. That was fun. It was a little chilly, but I got back in, watched football all day. Even if you don't have the best day, it's still watching football all day. It's not that bad. And I had a nice afternoon slate. I know I have the Niners this evening, but the Packers Falcons tease, even with some sort of goofy overtime thing, I can't lose a Packers tease. The Packers under, even with some stupid overtime, if we got there, could not get that out of there. And then the Falcons, we bet money on the Atlanta Falcons to win a football game, and
they held on for dear life, Andy.
It's just like everything else in life. It's not easy. Oh my God, the Bucs scored.
They did. Ooh, they're going to be.
We might.
Guess what? A game that no one wanted to see any more of. We're going to get to see some more of if they convert this 2-point conversion.
This will be good. More of this. And yes, Wong is back.
Wong is back in a big way.
There were some decent ones.
We kind of had. We talked about
Tennessee was a nice one because that was maybe a game that we thought was going to be competitive. So
yeah,
Tennessee was a good leg. The Patriots leg. Did not expect that many points in that game. We'll get to that when we get to that. Let's start off the top. What's your rotation number?
That's the first one. Baltimore. Okay. I don't have any comment on. Comment on Browns. Comment on Browns Steelers. Let's move on.
I watched 0 minutes of the Patriots game, except for when it would come across on a different game.
Yes,
and they would show me a highlight, and I could
not
believe
then we are well paired because I watched.
Yeah, you talked about it. I didn't watch it.
Okay, so just a general recap off the top, my biggest sides today were in no particular order. Ravens, Bengals, and Falcons. I had a decent amount of Jaguars as well, but a shit ton parlayed with under 47. So recapping that game is going to hurt, but I'm ready to do it. The sides went really, really well for me today. My biggest total play was, of course, the Jags under, which didn't make it. And then my second biggest was this Bucks under, which I think can survive overtime. Am I right?
Legally cannot lose. It can only get to 40. Okay. Unless we had a bunch of kickoff return. I don't know that can't. There's not enough time for like 3 of those.
No, there's only 14.
Even that doesn't get you there. So
even that doesn't get you there. And we don't even know if he's made the 2-point conversion yet or not. Okay, so let's talk about Patriots game where I watched every snap of that. Lamar Jackson is very, 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 very much in the MVP discussion. Very, 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 very much. No good. It's over. 14-12 final. Wow, amazing. Packers backers. Congratulations.
They could still onside here.
I don't think that's coming through to a win. Okay. Lamar Jackson is very much in the MVP conversation. If not MVP, Offensive Player of the Year is his to lose. He was unbelievable today. He had a huge advantage because the Patriots defense is slow, but that did not
box score. Yeah.
Stop. That didn't that doesn't change the fact that he was basically responsible for almost all 400 yards of offense and almost all of the points scored. And even still, the cover was in doubt because this Baltimore defense is very, very suspect. They needed 3 turnovers, including one in the end zone, to get a clean cover in this game. It was very, very, very sweaty at times. There was an 11-point margin in the fourth quarter, and it shrunk to, it looked like the Patriots were going to be able to take the lead. And you're sitting here thinking like, oh my God, like it's 2 weeks in a row. Really? They're going to give up double-digit lead in the fourth quarter 2 weeks in a row. They almost did it. Ultimately, it didn't come to fruition because Mac Jones was a little bit loose with the football in some key moments. High leverage moments, Mac choked a little. Patriots did outgain the Ravens in total offense. They did have more first downs than the Ravens overall. So I think, the difference really was the turnover battle there. Patriots 4 to the Ravens 2. The Ravens turnover, when they were kind of putting that lead away and Rashawn Bateman caught the ball and fumbled it, was literally like, how, what is going on? Like it was like pull your hair out if you had Ravens.
Unseemly.
Ultimately, the defense was the difference. Mac Jones goes out with a pretty bad ankle injury, although x-rays were negative. So that's probably a 2 or 3 weeker. So it's Bailey Zapp time. Is that right?
They have Hoyer. They have Hoyer, but I don't know what they're going to do. The Cardinals kicking a field goal is super low. Yeah, I would kick the tires. And they say the x-rays were negative.
Really a field goal? Oh my God.
So they say the x-rays were negative, but that doesn't mean there wasn't that means his bones aren't broken. That doesn't mean
you could still have ligament off bone, surely.
Well,
that's basically what high ankle sprain is.
Oh, I was going to say, or just a massive high ankle sprain that keeps him out for 4 weeks anyway. And yes, I would prefer Zappy, but we'll move on because I don't give a shit about the game that I didn't watch. You filled me in pretty well, though. That was
I mean, really and truly, it was the Lamar Jackson show.
I looked at the box score.
Through 3 weeks of the season, Lamar Jackson is the entire Ravens offense. No one is really helping him, and even beyond that, he gambled on himself by not taking whatever offer the Ravens gave him preseason. They better back up a freaking Watson deal after the season is over.
Looking at the Duvernay,
I've seen enough.
Not call it the Watson deal.
He's the best. That's the biggest deal out there.
Yeah, I know it's fair.
He's the benchmark.
That's a nasty benchmark. Either way, I looked at the box score, and Lamar was the whole offense, but I do want to give some props to Devin Duvernay, who has been playing better than I thought he would. When I shit
he's
on
hurt
this,
too. He's playing hurt.
I know everyone's hurt. We've been over that. He's injured. Lamar Jackson probably hurt, but you're right about offensive player of the year. He's stuck his head into a couple of awards races. What's next?
The next in rotation is Buffalo Bills, Miami Dolphins. Really, really entertaining game. The Josh Allen MVP train took a slight derailing today. Buffalo Bills had ample opportunities to put that game away before it was even close, and then come back in that game. Both the drive that ended in the fourth down, and then after the ass punt, Allen really did not handle himself well in sort of the 2-minute drill, which is weird because we've seen him recently just be so. Recently, as in like end of last season, was unstoppable in that mode. Some of the issues for the Bills were injuries. They have lost their 2 all-pro safeties, one of whom is done for the season. That is a bad thing for them. And the Bills are vulnerable. They're going to have to get cleaner, better play out of Josh Allen if they are going to ultimately succeed in getting the 1 seed, which now looks up for grabs, really, in the AFC, if we're being totally honest. The Dolphins were pretty lucky to get this win. The Dolphins are under investigation for putting a concussed Tua back out on the field.
He came out. I mean, they have to come out and say that he has an ankle injury now. Because, no, he wasn't concussed. He stepped on that ankle, and that's why he wobbled. Because he looked like he wasn't on planet Earth when he got up.
They're
in trouble.
That is embarrassing lying, honestly.
Yeah. What else are you going to do? You have to.
Did they not know that the video looked as bad as it did when they put that statement out there?
And that's the thing. That's the thing that you wonder. They're not watching the game broadcast. There's a decent chance nobody on the sideline saw a decent angle of him doing that. I have no idea what they saw. I'm giving them a little benefit of the doubt. said, this is an organization that probably doesn't deserve it.
No,
it has been fined very recently.
Yeah,
so
the owner got
they're
suspended,
probably in
right?
trouble
For tampering, whatever.
Yeah, they're either way. They're probably in trouble. And yeah, I want to be. I don't want to be too negative in this game, but yeah, Miami didn't deserve to win this game.
Are you joking? They didn't. They didn't deserve to cover this game.
Yeah,
they lost the time of possession 40-20. They lost the overall yardage.
They weren't doing much on offense.
They got
just
more
fell
than
in their lap.
doubled. They got more than doubled in terms of yardage gained from scrimmage. The Bills were 500 to the Dolphins 200. The Bills' special teams were, an embarrassment. And in general, the Dolphins cover felt like it was the right side the whole way. Obviously, the market said so. But Bills 31 first downs to the Dolphins 15. I mean, give me a fucking break. It was unbelievable. The only fourth down that the Bills didn't convert was the most important fourth down, where Josh Allen skipped it at the goal line when he had his guy wide fucking open. He was wide open. Even the Dolphins got lucky in the butt punt that it wasn't recovered for a touchdown, that it went for a safety. I mean, that was that bad of a punt, and there was a Bills everywhere. If that doesn't land out of bounds, that's a touchdown Bills. Bills bounce back from this, I'm sure, although the issues in terms of how many important players in the Bills are hurt is noteworthy. Do you have an update for me on Josh Allen injury? You think it's no big deal? Do you know what it was?
I haven't got much. Just he says he's fine. The team says it was just precautionary. I didn't see anything on film that was like, hey, he looks like he's broken.
Do you even know what it was?
No, I have no idea. It just said that, I thought it was arm or something. Like he hit his arm because he wasn't. So I leaned towards
says hand.
Yeah, I leaned towards upper body because the way he was moving, it didn't look like anything lower body was messed up. So maybe he just whacked his hand on a helmet and they wanted to take a look at it because it stung.
Yeah. Allen was sloppy today. 100% acknowledge that. The Bills in general, their offense played they were on the field for so long and in the heat on the sidelines for so much of that game that they were all cramping and out of control. Like, if the Bills come out and have a crisp offensive performance next week, I'll be shocked. Like, those guys are going to be in the ice tub for 3 days. The flip side of this is the Miami Dolphins defense played really, really, really clutch defense down the stretch. They made some great tackles, some great pass breakups, but when you spend 40 minutes on the field in the southern, Florida humidity, and then you have to turn around on a short week and play the Bengals, you're going to get your brain beat the fuck in. This is going to be a one-sided contest, in my opinion, on Thursday Night Football. As soon as you see a Bengals number, I would bet it. Do you disagree?
I do not disagree.
Okay.
And that's a good segue into the Bengals. We both bet them. That was
good.
Should have been easier. It should have been easier. Like that, just the biggest. It was almost like a one-note handicap for me was, hey, the Jets don't have a pass rush, and Cincinnati's going to be just fine if they don't have a future Hall of Fame pass rusher or two in their face all day long, causing all this havoc, and maybe not even causing the havoc, but it seems like once that happens, Burrow just started to cause his own havoc amongst himself, and really they looked fine against a team that really overperformed the week before. I don't have a ton to say about that. The Bengals are fine. They're going to be a team that is going to compete for this division eventually. We'll see how everything works out with the schedule, but that was I don't know, when it was 5 that felt silly. So I made it 7.
Yeah, absolutely. And the Jets had tons of opportunities to come in the back door in the second half and just were inept. 3 points in total, bunch of fucking turnovers. That team's a mess offensively. Flacco, congratulations on having a big, good week. The defense fighting amongst each other, on the sidelines was an embarrassment. And really the fact that they only conceded 27 points, they should probably be patting each other on the back. Like, hey, great job, guys. We stopped them in the red zone a couple times. Bengals were not, they're still rusty. They're still a little funky. But that said, they get a matchup on Thursday Night Football against a defense, as we've now covered at great length, spent an entire.
Should we skip ahead to the betting? And I'm going to take it -2, -10.
Is it open?
Yeah, bookmaker has it. So
good. Yes.
I agree with you.
-2, -10.
-2, -10.
What's 2.5 going for?
108 now. It just moved.
There
I
we
don't
go.
know that I did that. I didn't bet that much.
Yeah, I'm sure you probably did. Thanks a lot.
You
Andy.
start betting these derivatives. I thought it kind of keeps it away from the auto mover.
What's the 2.5? Yeah, I know. It usually
2.5
does,
is
but maybe not on
108.
the soft open like this.
That's fair.
What are they
2.5
taking
minus
right
108
on sides?
Five.
I would lay 3 here, even if you have to wait until get a bigger bet down.
5-ish. Yeah, 5,000. Yeah, not a lot to say. I'm going to skip right past that one. I said all I wanted to say. Go to New Orleans, Carolina. I live bet New Orleans for a little bit at a plus number. I regretted it after I watched Jameis for the next 3 quarters. That injury might be bothering him more. Like, he is not that inaccurate. He's never been. We've had interceptions and stuff. Remember the 30-30 season, but the inaccuracy on the short to medium stuff, the lack of touch, and then some of the just wild misses. Like, I think that fractured back is giving him more hell than maybe we think. Also, and a lot of it was I just didn't believe in Carolina being able to do what they did on that offense, and it was a defensive score. It was a broken play where LaVishka got away. So it was a tough live loss. I still believe New Orleans should have been better, but maybe the fact that Jameis did some of those things that I started to notice, it's a good reason for me to stay off this team for now. They
got bet against pretty aggressively late, and I think that was entirely on the Jameis Winston back injury, and I agree with that. I wouldn't bet the Saints right now until you see him put together a complete 4 quarters where he looks good, feels good.
Oh, and it's tempting too, because they're going against the Minnesota Vikings team who heads on the road.
It's in London.
Yeah.
That's a nice long plane ride with a bad back.
It's a really good get right fucking defense. So the secondary is rough. Lions probably could have won that game.
Vikings basically
anything else on?
Well, we'll get to
anything
that.
else on that one?
Let's not overreact on that. No, that was a completely wasted game for me.
Detroit, Minnesota. Good job to you guys. I know a couple of you people in the chat bet on the over 51, over 51 and a half.
Landed 52.
I believe it landed 52, and that was a flat, not a middle. I mean, it did end up higher. I know it went up to 53 and a half, got bet down a little. I think a lot of places did close back down at 52, 51 and a half. But yes, what do you mean, you people? I might watch Thunder tonight instead of this game. Jesus. But no, good job on that. It took a little bit of Churayan to get there, but they did make it up that hill. So over 50 and a half for some of you. Good job. The Vikings have a gross defense.
This was the worry about getting too excited about the Detroit Lions this season, preseason. Like you saw all of the signs that it was a spunky offense, but their ability to put away games is still a huge question mark, particularly with their defense. The Vikings, I feel like, had the ball and had opportunities to get back into that, like, for the entire 4th quarter. The Lions just could not put together their drive when they needed one, and that's sort of going to be their MO. And this was a huge high leverage loss for them. Ultimately, it does not look likely that the Lions will make the playoffs now. And that is hugely because a win would have put them tied for the NFC North lead. A loss puts them in the NFC North cellar. I know it's only one game, but this is a big one because now you have a divisional loss.
Yeah, they needed this one. What are you
Vikings, on the other hand, they're still alive for the NFC North in your mind, even with the defense looking kind of shit and Cousins being a little bit of a weirdo?
Man, the Cousins play has to get a lot better, and the defense has to get a lot better. I don't think so, honestly. If Green Bay can win these close games and the offense continues to improve with Lazard getting healthy and some of these rookie pieces playing better, it feels like the road to the NFC North goes through Appleton, Wisconsin. So, and then someone brings up St. Brown. He was injured. He went back in. He looked a little ginger. But again, everyone's heard. I'll follow up on that. My whole night.
They don't have enough depth to absorb that, though. Which is
the whole second half of this, like after halftime, when we do halftime, the whole second half is me just looking up injury quotes and trying to figure out like who's playing next week.
Everybody's hurt. Just assume it.
so many. KC Indy, another weird one where like Indy looked dead in the water. I almost tweeted something and then I got a text and I forgot about it, but it was like one of the third or fourth times Matt Ryan got hit hard. And, this was supposed to be, hey, come to Indy and we'll protect you. It's like, man, Matt Ryan can't be having a good time. What's going to be my tweet? And then 45 minutes later, they come up and win this goddamn game. Very odd performance on both sides. I don't know what did you think of the Kansas City offense in the second half?
Awful. I guess credit to Gus Bradley. I owe him an apology. The general read of this game was there was the fact that the Chiefs lost this game it's tough to really figure out. Like this is hard
to reckon with.
This was bizarre in so many ways. The special teams are the clear and obvious problem. This was the missed field goals, the stupid trick play, the muffed punt that led to the first touchdown for the Colts. Like, you watch this, this just didn't seem like a close call. Like this shouldn't have been even decided in the final minutes. This should have been a multiple score, put this thing away Chiefs game. Mahomes was not nearly as crisp as he normally is. He was off 20 for 35, only 262 yards, 1 touchdown. Even though some guys who you were hoping would make plays like Juju Smith-Schuster did, Travis Kelce drops an absolutely, game is over touchdown in that fourth quarter. That's like a once in a freaking season. He drops that ball. The defense was solid. They sacked Matt Ryan a shit ton. Ryan got sacked 5 times. They got a couple of fumbles. And I guess Ryan only lost one of them, but the big crazy moment of this game, and again, this was like NFL is not fixed. Don't listen to anyone who says it is, but this one had a lot of weird shit going on, right? And the way that the refs called, sort of a little bit in favor of the Colts. Missing an obvious face mask on a pretty high leverage down late in the game on Pat Mahomes, missing, just in general. Actually, what I want to point out? I was watching Red Zone, and Red Zone missed this entirely, but Colts were going nowhere on their final drive where they needed to score a touchdown. They get sacked on 3rd down, and Chris Jones is acting like a fucking idiot. And he's standing over Matt Ryan. He's talking shit to him. And he was kind of like laying on him on the pile. And it's like, dude, your team just made probably the game-ending play and game-ending stop. Get the fuck off the field. And you're like, what is he doing? Like, this is stupid. And they cut away, and you just kind of assume that the Colts then go and punt. But there was a penalty, a 15-yard penalty that kept that drive alive. And then ultimately, the Colts went on to score the game-winning field goal or game-winning touchdown on that drive. And it's just like, if you're going to just punt games away, being an idiot, like, what are you doing? I don't know. It was very, very, very disappointing from basically every unit on that Chiefs team. Offense was disappointing with the miscues and drops. Defense with as mentioned, the untimely penalty, and then the special teams, of course, just embarrassing themselves. I took 2 losses on that game. I had the over and I had the Chiefs, so I'm pretty bent out of shape about the way that one broke.
I get so nervous about betting multiple bets in the same game.
Yeah, well, I bet the Chiefs in the first place, and then I was like, "Fuck, man! Like the right bet is the over." And so I went back to the well, got the over before because Pittman was trending in and Pierce was in, and it was like, "Oh shit, this could be a track meet." Not so much.
What's my best? I'm putting in first touchdown scorers right now. They're
All right, I'll keep
scrolling
going
across
then.
the screen. What Noops likes is scrolling across the screen. I got to find
Okay.
my
Well,
best. My best
let's just note
45.
that the Chiefs are going to have these games where it looks like they don't really care if they get the 1 seed or not, and this was one of those games.
Yeah,
and
we
anyone
talked about this a little
anyone
preseason.
that bet the Colts out there and is doing freaking victory laps, like fucking cool your jets. Seriously.
If you got like
Like,
a 7, if you got a 7 early, you were.
If you got a 7, I guess.
Yeah,
But
or even a 6.
Where's there even a 7? I don't know.
There
If
were
you got a
7s
7,
on Tuesday.
Were there? Okay. Well,
Yeah, you could.
I'm not saying
that
this should have been
I was
one way,
dangerously
but
close to it.
yeah, you got a gift of a first touchdown. You got a gift of a last touchdown. This probably could have been a 17-6 game. It should have been a 24-6 game. It should have been a 27-6 game, realistically.
Vegas
Kelsey drops touchdown. They miss a field goal. This is 27-6.
Yeah, they getting Butker back would be useful.
I guess.
Not as good. Vegas, Tennessee. This was the side I took. Apparently, I was on the wrong side.
What'd you get?
Vegas. I took the Vegas Raiders -2. But you know what I did? I did chase this. I betted Raiders like +7.5. So kicking that field goal to get within 8, that felt real good. Like, good job, guys. Keep kicking field goals. This is not helping me. Nice drive at the end to get me the garbage cover to help assuage some of my bad feelings, but really felt like the Raiders uneven every game so far. And it's a new coaching staff, a lot of new pieces, but still very uneven because you see really nice drives, really nice play calls, really nice play sequencing, and then you see some real garbage shit from this team. So it might just take them a little while to get their shit in gear, but unfortunately you can't do that in the AFC, and you can't do that in the AFC West. They're dead
the Raiders is probably done.
The division is absolutely done. And
it's not really because no one's running away with things, but
no, but still 0-3 is a very tough hole to dig out of. Should the Raiders have kept Rick Focaccia?
Real quick, if you bet the over in that game and there was some sharpish money on the over, you were probably like steaming, infuriated, mad going into that fourth quarter. Like, this should have been in the books 20 minutes ago, and I am still sweating this. And even then, it took 15 red zone offensive plays for the Raiders to finally get those 6 points you needed to get to 46 here. Deceptively low score. Raiders outgained the Titans by about 40 yards. They had about 5 more first downs. They won time of possession by a bit. They had an equal turnover battle. It was a weird one that the Raiders ultimately lost this one. Matt Collins was great, but
on first touchdown scores.
I don't know. The Raiders roster right now, as you look up and down, they're not even missing that many guys from injury, but they look pretty fucking bad. Roster looks real weak right now.
Yeah, I don't know. Go back to the drawing board on them. Philly, Washington, they killed our over by Washington being that bad. Philly just not having to do anything in the whole second half. They couldn't. The Commandos couldn't muster anything that we saw from Detroit Week 1 against garbage time. Mm-hmm. They got a safety and then a touchdown later. It was a pretty sad performance by Washington at home. And honestly, I'm gonna go ask Dan to clip us talking nice about the Eagles. Like, I'm sure there's some timestamps of, hey, we think this Eagles team can get the 1 seed. This Eagles team is.
Oh, we've said that 500 times. Dan is gonna have a tough time finding just like
we can do a montage of it, but yes, it is. If they didn't do shit in the second half because they didn't have to, I think that's going to be the MO versus some of these bad teams because they have scored 24 in the first half. All 3 games, they come out, they punch you in the face, and then they can coast, and that is not good for the next team that play. It's like a domino. Like, oh yeah, they didn't have to really play the second half. Now they're not beat up from an all-out war last week, and they're going to come out and they're going to do it again in the first half next week. And this Philly team is scary. This is a scary first. We should just be parlaying.
What's funny?
Rolling first half Philly, second half under.
Hurts was great today, threw for almost 400 yards and 3 touchdowns. That kind of a statistical performance is going to keep him in the MVP race because the Eagles are very live for the 1 seed, as we've said 500 times now. 400 yards of offense and only 24 points, and all 24 of those points coming in the second quarter is weird.
It was a weird game.
One
to
of those
watch.
was a short field. I don't know. It was a very bizarre game. The biggest kind of takeaway on this one was I felt like it. You felt like it. We said it. Washington's offense we thought was a little bit frisky, a little live. Wentz took 9 sacks today. He moved his team backwards to the tune of 60 yards. That is
Seems bad.
Classic Wentzian performance. One of the sacks I think was a fumble. He lost a fumble that set the Eagles up for an easy touchdown. Like you want to know why you don't go to war with a guy like Wentz. It's because on any given day he's going to take 9 fucking sacks. Anyone that got the sacks like kind of in the mix for a defensive player of the year? I don't really think so. It was spread everywhere. Brandon Graham got 2.5, Reddick with 1.5, Fletcher Cox 1.5, Josh Sweat 1.5, TJ Edwards 1. I mean, it was a shared effort.
Yeah, it's not gonna. I don't think there's gonna be
Brandon Graham really 5 QB hits today.
There's too many other flash players that don't have shared stat.
Do you think the Eagles' defense is a little better than we've given them credit for after now 2 back? It was a fluky kind of garbage time effort by the Lions in week 1.
I think they got their. I think they probably got their shit reamed after that second half performance. Like, hey, we won the game, but just because we have a big lead doesn't mean we can do that.
God damn it! We get Doug Peterson going to Philly next week.
Maybe it wasn't even. Maybe it wasn't even the defense. Maybe the defensive coordinator got his ass chewed a little. Like, hey, we're not going to do that. We're not going to be a team that lets bad teams in the back door. And they didn't let Minnesota do. I mean, Minnesota drove, but they continued to turn them over, and a lot of that was on Kirk. But yeah, bad team second half. Eagles under, I guess. That's starting to be a thing outside of that first game. Houston, Chicago. I refuse to talk about that game because. Didn't watch much of it.
Did they
Fields got the win, but really wasn't a kind of a performance to write home.
That was a game where whichever quarterback had the ball and was asked to do something last was going to lose the game, and it happened to be Davis Mills. Seriously, you know what I'm saying? Like whoever was asked to make a play was going to make the blunder, and it was Mills. Just a god-awful pick to Roquan Smith set up the final field goal. Even Chicago in kicking that field goal was doing some they didn't even know how to get their shit together. It was an embarrassment. Bears pushing, I think, is perfect. Anyone that bet that game deserved a push. That's why. But hey, anyone that bet the over, it was a 43-point game when in a 39.5 point total. Probably shouldn't even have been that close. That should have sailed.
Leading receiver for the Bears, Cole Kmet, with 2 catches for 40 yards.
Oh my God!
And that was not just the Bears. He didn't just lead in yardage. He tied for the lead in number of catches as well. Although Mooney had 6 targets, Fields 8 for 17, 106. That's not going to get it done. But
we're learning nothing about either. Of
I know it's so hard to say. Nothing. Like he was good on some of these runs. It just. When it's Mooney and Kmet as your receiving core, it's hard to say. I digress. I don't want to talk about this.
This is anymore. Crazy, Andy. There were 6 quarterbacks drafted last year that got to start and carried into the season, and we're learning nothing about 5 of them. We know nothing more about Fields, Mac Jones, Trey Lance, Zach Wilson, and Davis Mills. Are any of those guys long-term starters? We have no clue through 3 weeks of their sophomore seasons. Absolutely unreal.
Yeah, it sucks for figuring things out, but I don't know. Go Bears, I guess.
You know who?
Actually, I bet against them in the regular season win total.
You know who does? You know who has taken a sophomore step forward? Trevor Lawrence.
Yes.
Jesus Christ. He was quite cool. And you want to blame some of the injuries of the Chargers defensively today for the Chargers giving up 38 fucking points? Be my guest. The Chargers defense are on my absolute shit list. I lost a pretty significant amount of money on this game because of the total landing 48. So I cannot be objective in talking about how the market matured through the week. Some of the rumors, some of the some of the volatility there. So I think I need to cede the stage to you. On Friday, we got Nuggets. You said standing pat. I think Herbert goes. By all means, can you kind of paint the picture of what happened this week?
I actually don't want to even do this. I want to wait till Wednesday to do this so I can give more time to breathe and maybe get some more information.
Okay.
We have some information, some of it through, various sources who have some back channels, but the gist of it was nobody wanted Justin Herbert to play except for Justin Herbert. And somehow he got his way, which makes me really, really, aside from how the defense played and the injuries and the Keenan Allen thing and the injury itself, the fact that he got his way as an employee, as a young player under contract, instead of the team deferring to, I'm out on the coaching
doctor
staff.
Any doctor.
This isn't even the one with all the DUIs. This is rough. I'm out on the coaching staff. I'm out on the management. I'm out on the whole team. If they're gonna play with fire like this and let him get his way, it had to just be tough love. You're not playing. And again, the real story, honestly, was how bad that secondary looked. How bad the linebackers. A lot of stuff across the middle was just going for way too many yards. It was a depressing game to watch if you have any long-term action on the Chargers because. Yeah. Everything I thought good about this team looked kind of rough. And boy, watch every NFL game live on this website really wants us to watch this. But we'll get into this deeper on Tuesday or Wednesday. I'm going to dig into this a little, and we'll see if we can get any more information on how he got his way, because it's just dumb. Dumb.
Getting his way in the first place over using the decision-making that you should have set in place, because any player worth his salt, particularly a locker room leader and an elite quarterback, is going to try to force his way into a game. You must have a system in place that protects players from themselves if they are not ready to go. And this seems like this was a complete failure of protocol in that department, which is a huge indictment of the organization, which, we're talking about the LA Chargers here. So maybe we shouldn't be surprised. Maybe the joke's on us that we're even surprised about this, because they are kind of a laughing stock in terms of the way they do things. But the part, letting him play in the first place and seeing him out there, I thought he was relatively fine. Once seeing him take some snaps, I wasn't like, good Lord, get him out of there. You know when I was like, good Lord, get him out of there? When fucking Rashawn Slater is out of the game and Storm Norton is protecting his blind side, and you are in must-pass situations facing a good, maybe great pass rush, and he is he's taking down by 21, and he's taking shots in comeback mode. What that was an in-game, if you're a good general manager or a good owner, you call the coach into the office on Monday.
Him throwing the ball 45 times is a big problem.
I think it was more than 45. Wasn't
45
it like 50?
times.
Oh, yes, especially in those comeback mode situations. Like, he had zero business being on the field once
free
you were
rush, backup tackle.
Once the Jaguars scored to make it 19, hit the 2-point conversions to make it 21, the game's fucking over. Get your guy out of there, especially because you have a backup blindside tackle in there. A couple other things that drive me, kind of make me a little sick about this game, just because of the results for me personally. The fact that they made the 2-point conversion, and if they miss it, then this lands on 46, makes me a little sick to my stomach. The fact that it was the right decision to go. It was the right decision to go for it. It was the right decision to go for it, so I can't be really, really butthurt about it. But if they had just missed it, that would have made me. This would probably be an obnoxious podcast to listen to, because I would just be just elated and wasted. But I thought the one touchdown that they got to Mike Williams was not a completed catch. They didn't review it, weirdly. Anyone that bet Chargers lowest score in the 80-1 range got absolutely freaking screwed. Ultimately the total being 38 with the broken play from the 4th and 1. The fact that in general the Chargers have solved nothing about their run defensive woes, as evidenced by this particular second
Looks
half
as bad
performance.
as last year.
Looks as bad as last year. The fact that they had 2 turnovers that set the Jags up for easy points, under better's absolute nightmare in this game. And if you want to fault me for getting 47 instead of 48, then that's fair. But by the time it looked unlikely Herbert was going to go, that was the price. It is what it is. So I don't know.
Really weird market. Fucking journey. It was a journey all week with this one. The last 3 real quick before we get into next week's games. Green Bay, Tampa Bay, dead nuts under. I mean, people had 48s before the games were played last week. We hit 45. I said if it bounces back to 42, I would still play that under. It honestly closed at 42. It looked a little dicey. Green Bay was looking real squirrely on offense, and then that fumble into the end zone followed by another not a long drive, but a drive into plus territory that ended in a lost fumble. It was just making Andy happy. Green Bay has a couple of receivers that found a little bit of rapport. It's still a tough defense, even with some missing pieces, and they slowed that game down. I'm surprised Green Bay didn't score in the second half, but I guess I didn't give a shit. I cashed the teaser, I cashed the under. We both cashed that under, and someone brought up in the chat already, Tampa Bay may be a bet on team when they get healthy, but that moment may never come. It's not when they get healthy, it's if they get healthy. Those are 2 different things, and one is maybe more likely than the other. Green Bay maybe doesn't have to do a whole lot if the defense can play well, and they can just lean on these 2 running backs and some short slanty shit. That slant to Dobbs down at the end zone. That stuff's indefensible. Yeah. When Rodgers is running that, he's still very good. So Green Bay is still a good team. Congrats to them. Anything else on that?
I don't disagree. The statistics are misleading because so much of the second half was garbage time, or just Bucs in comeback mode, and they kind of padded the stat sheet to get close to the 300-yard mark and the 19 first downs. The Tampa Bay defense was pretty disappointing in the first half of that game, but ultimately they tightened things up and played a great second half. Tom Brady, even in an effort where he scored 12 points and was unable to tie the game with the 2-point conversion, he was 31 of 42. Russell Gage had 12 catches for 87 yards and a touchdown. They still managed to find ways to get it done through the air. The running game up against the late box, the late leaning Packers was useless. Fat Lenny was feet in cement. We used to make jokes about Fat Lenny's hands as cement blocks, and he couldn't catch a pass to save his life. His feet look like they're in cement right now. Maybe he's playing through an injury. I don't know. But the coaching staff not doing themselves many favors by giving him as many early down runs as they are, if they cannot get any kind of a press even against that type of a light unit. Tom Brady needs to kind of enforce his vision on what he wants this team to be from a offensive standpoint. God, dude, the Bucs played the Chiefs next week. Good luck to them. That's probably an underplay, but I don't know.
It's only 47 though.
Yeah. No.
I would have liked 48. I looked at that one a little bit. Last 2 real quick before we get into this week. And Jesus, we are going long on this week because it was a fucking eventful Sunday. But
seriously,
Falcons won. Falcons
better
looked
team.
Fun. They were the better team. They look fun on offense. They still tried to give it away because it's not just. I'm not just going to say because it's the Falcons, because it's a young roster with a bunch of holes in it. They're still a better team than Seattle, even on the road. Loved having them as a dog here. They were the other half of my teaser. That was nice to get both those pretty easily. Honestly, the Green Bay Atlanta teaser never really had doubts to it. The Atlanta money line did, obviously, with the late shenanigans. But Pitt, very good. London, very good. The rest of the team exists.
Whoa.
Secondary.
Just blow right by the MVP of this game. Mr. Cordell Patterson, man.
Yeah.
Cordell Patterson living up to every dollar of that contract he signed. He was live in this game, and he ultimately helped them put away this lead. Like the Falcons are a team that gives their opponents too many opportunities to come back into games. Patterson was not that guy. The one fumble that gave the Seahawks a chance late was on Mariota, not Patterson. Arthur Smith did some things in this game that I had questions about. The defense didn't look especially prepared in the first half, which was concerning considering they spent that.
Especially since you do have good cover corners. Like,
you do. Yeah.
I wanted to see more out of them. That was disappointing to me.
Yeah, it's true. Geno Smith was pretty decent today. Because again, I don't think the Falcons defense is as bad as market rated. I give Smith some credit for being, for finding some guys who are open. The Seahawks offense was back to what we saw in week 1, right? They were being aggressive. They were throwing, early and often. Just a very confusing signal from looking at the offensive game plans now and through 3 weeks for Seattle. They screwed themselves against San Francisco from Jump Street. Whereas they were live in this game. I think realistically the offense outgained the Falcons. Yeah, it was 420 to 386, about even in first downs, 2 turnovers for the Falcons to 1 for Seattle. Seattle beneficiary of Falcons beneficiary of a decent advantage in the penalty department, but so it goes. About a very even game. Glad the Falcons got a win, though, because I had a lot of Falcons this week. And actually surprised that the market really didn't close favorites for them. Do you have a read on there? There was some Seattle money, apparently.
I didn't understand that we weren't going to just get a little more of that.
Yeah. Should have been more over money, too. This was in hindsight. Why the hell didn't we?
And whatever.
In hindsight, why didn't we bet this over? Would have been a lot less sweaty than the Falcons.
I almost did live. It was just like on the wrong side of a key number, and I wish I could remember what it was now. I don't even want to know, like looking back at the score. I'm not sure how I got there. There was a point, I think it was at 10-7. I looked at betting it live because I'm like, this is wrong right now. Like these defenses are struggling. Didn't watch much of the Rams game because it was the late game I didn't have action on, but the Rams seemed to be in control and then just kind of put it into cruise control and almost let Arizona do so. Arizona had the ball within striking distance a few times. They couldn't quite get it done. I watched a little bit. I saw a play where Aaron Donald for some reason decided to not be blocked, where they just let him have a free run. Kyler just like threw the ball to turf. Like, nope.
That was hysterical.
Nope.
Yeah. Nope. Nope.
That's terrifying. He's so little. And Aaron Donald was just free rush at him. But
Cardinals are bad.
Yeah, the Cardinals are not good.
Yeah. Their offense scored 0 today, right? Touchdowns. They got field goals only. 4 field goals. Is that right?
4 field goals. The last one, the most hilarious.
Yeah. Because why the fuck? Anytime you can make an 11-point game, an 8-point game, I guess that's what they did, right? So that's maybe not that hilarious because they were trying to get the ball back. But I don't know, man. The Cardinals are not good. Stafford didn't get a touchdown pass in this one. I guess that was a rush for Cooper Kupp.
Yeah, it was like a throwback to Kupp. It was Kupp ran behind him, and it was a
Kupp's
really
having
nice
a
run,
weird season. Like he lost. Did he lose a fumble at one point? I can't remember.
He lost the fumble last week.
Cam Akers lost a bad fumble on the goal line.
There's been so many of those this year.
I do not understand what McVay is doing in terms of deploying his weapons. Allen Robinson, no show. Cam Akers got more than Henderson when Henderson has clearly looked more alive all season.
It just like the Rams defense where they can throw wave after pass rushers at you. The NFL Pass TV bot has wave after wave of bots here. Something. So, all right, before we bet, we'll say this.
Rams.
Quick
just recap. Like the Bengals being still a little rusty in a win, the Rams were a little rusty in a win. Anyway, keep going.
It seemed like they're almost in KC mode, where they're just like, we're just gonna win some games. We know we're gonna make the playoffs because it's the NFC. But all right, before we get to
they better tune it up quick because they got the Niners next week.
I'm trying, Dan. I'm working.
Go for it.
Dan hit me in the private chat. Before we get to the odds for this week, and we already did bet Cincinnati. This podcast is brought to you by No House Advantage. You can go download that at nohouseadvantage.com or just on your phone on the App Store. You can play versus the house, 20x your entry, or win up to $250K in straight cash. Homie, download the app, choose a contest, select your player props, NFL, NBA, MLB, PGA, MMA, NASCAR. Sign up with the promo code BETSPURTS for a first deposit match.
Sweet.
And yes, we are already on the board with some Bengals -2.5. That's looking like it's catching some steam in the market right now, which is
good.
Better than it going the other way. The Saints-Vikings game we already kind of talked about. Those are a couple teams I have no idea who can I trust. The Saints, well, just really two quarterbacks that are playing well below the level we expect in Kirk Cousins for reasons unknown and Jameis Winston in probably injury reasons. But I can't touch this under just based on how rough the Minnesota secondary's been. And Minnesota probably gets it right at some point, although Dalvin Cook did dislocate his shoulder. Apparently that's just a thing that happens to him. Like your friend in high school whose pinky pops out sometimes. Just pop it back in. Like he's just going to wear a harness. I guess he's just going to be fine. Also, Minnesota has a fair backup. I don't know. I'm fine with those numbers, not touching that game.
Yeah, I lean Minnesota, but at a flat 3, I'm out. This is being played in Tottenham, right? Tottenham. That's one of the faster turfs. The old joke was if in Wembley game is played, bet the over, you'll get paid.
You'll get paid. If
Twickenham
instead,
bet the under, stay in bed.
Yes.
And I think Wembley and Hotspur are both.
There's no chance I'll ever be able. I'd have to listen to every podcast you ever did to try to find that
where we
that
said that in the first time. It was probably 2017. Hotspurs generally go over. Hotspur Stadium, it generally goes over. This total's a shade low, but with Jameis having the back issues.
And if Harrison Smith plays, that's a big boon to that defense. Colts Titans.
Good God Almighty, pass. Where either the wins, both these teams coming off wins, anything inspire you to say that the Titans are worth it as a dog on the road at 3.5, or that the Colts ought to be favored by 3.5 over anyone?
Yeah, this isn't neither side for me.
If this was 3, I guess I would think hard about the Colts, but at 3.5, trending 4, no thanks.
Real quick, I mentioned I had a play on tonight's game. I know that starts in like 10 minutes, as some people were asking. I don't understand why the market hasn't moved. I guess there's some love for Denver at home with having to bring in a different quarterback for the Niners.
A lot of over money on this.
This is going, and the over has come in. But man, I am a believer in coaching mismatched, especially in a primetime island game like this.
Yeah,
I think Shanny's going to be just fine sliding Garoppolo back in. It's not like it's some backup they signed this year they've never used before. This offense should be fine. Kittle is back in the fold. Judy's playing, which I was hoping wouldn't be the case, but the use of the wide receivers for Denver has been so hilariously poor. I definitely lean. I don't just lean San Francisco. I bet San Francisco.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I bet the under, and I'm against all of the smart money in the universe.
Take a look at me now.
I'm hopeful that this is 3-3 at halftime and we can get a second half overplay.
All these games are so bad.
They're so fucking bad. Giants-Bears pass. Bills-Ravens. That one's not bad. Baltimore Ravens get an opportunity to avenge a playoff loss from 2 years ago in Orchard Park. This game will be in Baltimore, Maryland. They are 3.5-point dogs at home. Bills without safeties does not inspire confidence in this game, even though they should bounce
55
back.
At Chris already.
Oh, that's the play. Under.
It's so high.
Under. This is a very, very, very under. No,
you're not worried about the missing safeties and how good that offense has looked at home?
No. 55 is way off my mark. What is your number on this? My number is like 51.5.
That'd be 53.5.
I gotta wait.
Still under it, but once you get up there, there's not that much differentiating once you get above like 52.
This is a bet to the under.
Hey, Drew's on the under.
What can I get on this right now? I'm gonna sell down to 54 plus 103.
It is 54.5 at Bet Online, who is somehow taking more. No, they're not 1,000. All right, you can have that.
All right,
I'll come in on that over when it drops a little. We'll hit the middle together.
All those. No, don't do it, man. Second week in a row for the Bills.
I may be betting the Baltimore team total over.
Ravens probably win that game. Actually, if I had to pick a side.
If you made me bet a side, it would be Ravens just straight.
It's going to be like Ravens 23-20 kind of game. 55 is absurd.
Chargers Texans.
It's not right.
I don't know.
No
things
bet
about the Chargers. There's so much injury problems right now. I'm not betting that.
A rematch of the Chargers getting their shit pushed in last year when they wanted to get a playoff spot.
I know. Outside of being prisoner of the moment, like the way they're playing right now, the way they've played all year, and the fact that their quarterback is injured, they shouldn't lay 6.5 on the road to even the worst teams right now.
No. Everybody's hurt. Slater with the bicep. If Slater with the bicep is out and that's a Storm Norton game, forget it.
Yeah, this might get down to 5. The Lions are 6.5-point favorites.
Wow. Whoa.
What about the Lions defense says this total should only be 48? Are we just betting Lions overs every week? Where would you put this total? I mean, I get that Seattle's bad, but Geno had some moments today where he was finding two of his receivers regularly.
Yeah, let's put a pin in this.
I think this is going to get bet up. I'm not on it right now. It's just 48 seems like it should be 50.
Yeah, I think especially because the Seattle game took over money this week, on top of the fact that the Lions game actually got there. Should have gotten there more easily because there was a bunch of missed field goals. Jets, Steelers, good God Almighty. Zach Wilson's going to be back, Andy. The Joe Flacco experience is over. The Steelers finally get an extended break to kind of get their defense right. That totals 41. Pass. Let's talk about Jags Eagles. Where do you think this number goes?
Somebody just hit that Detroit over.
Oh, did they? Good job, guys. I think that was correct.
Jets Steelers, that number's honestly, I would lay the points of the Steelers there. I still have no problem betting on a team against the Jets. They have no pass rush. Their secondary is rough, and the Steelers.
Mitch Trubisky's laying 4 points.
Yeah, well, with extra rest, and the run game looked good enough at home.
Najee Harris is the second best running back on that team, by the way.
They have like 3 people that can run the ball.
Harris might be the third best running back on the team. Jags are catching 7.5. We'll say 7. They're catching 7 against the Eagles in Philly. Doug Peterson's grand return to the city of brotherly love. I'm sure he'll get a warm reception. You got to read there.
You keep talking. I'm going to turn my other monitor back on.
The Eagles are those guys. They are probably going to be talked about all week as the best team in the NFL because the Bills and Chiefs lost, and they were already kind of in that third spot as people were kind of they make sort of generic, stupid power ratings. And if you're an undefeated team, you're at the top of power ratings in general, and that's your Eagles right now. Plus, they got a clean win. I think the Eagles, they're getting a lot of buzz, but by God Almighty, did the Jaguars offense figure some things out this last couple weeks. Really, really, really good game.
If you can beat that secondary, why can't you hang with the Eagles?
Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
I can't wait to break that one down on Wednesday. Let's put a pin in that and think about it some more. No line for Cowboys. Commies. Thank God. Browns, Falcons. Browns. 3. Total 47. That looks like an overplay to me.
I worry about the Falcons holding up against that defensive pass rush if it's held. What was the JOK prognosis? I'm not sure if I got an update on
Walker Jr. is done. JOK is questionable probably all week. But the Browns defense is not who we thought they were.
It's not as good as we thought it would be preseason.
No.
You would rather play the over than
yes. Because the Browns defense is the Browns offense is kind of good. The Browns offense probably aren't they like getting 30? Browns offense is getting 30 a week. Here.
Let me look what I would have here. I got to pull my sheet up.
It used to be rare air. It used to be rare air to score 30. It's really rare air to score 30 this year. And the Cleveland Browns offense is getting 30 every time they roll out of bed.
Well, let's not count that last touchdown.
26, 30, 29. Oh yeah, that's a good point. But that offense should have had that offense was clicking.
I make it like 48.5.
Ooh, over 47 is minus 101 right now.
Yeah,
I'm taking over 47 minus 101. It's trending down.
The other way. It's down. Just I can get a 46.5 right now.
Oh, there it is. 46.5 minus 110. It just showed up.
I fucking don't bet that.
I think that's a bet.
I almost had it at 49 here.
Yeah, 46.5 is a bet.
Ugh, that's a gross one. All right.
No way. Why is it gross?
I just worry about getting in bed with the Falcons too many weeks in a row.
You think the offense is going to no-show one of these weeks?
It's like going right back after a pregnancy scare,
really
right
frisky,
back into it.
Dude, the thing about the Falcons is week in, week out now, they get graded like an offense that's in the bottom 5. But Mariota's a league average quarterback right now, maybe above.
Yeah, and there's a 46 right here.
London, Pitts, and Patterson are all very, very live weapons. If they can neutralize Garrett, who's been so far this season, then they're going to score in that game.
Yeah, when I have to switch from red zone to like NBC, sometimes I don't do it fast enough, and the monitor just times out. And by monitor, I mean television. Device monitors anymore.
No opinion on Panthers Cardinals, 2 teams that I'm probably not going to bet again for a while. No opinion on.
I was Broncos against Raiders. The Panthers this week, and I think maybe I need to reevaluate a little bit about them.
Oh, buddy. Packers
Monday
the Packers host the Patriots, and there is a lineup at Bet Online that is 9 for the Packers. Penny has 10 for the Packers. Total is 42.5.
What do you make that line if it's Brian Hoyer? I mean, it's probably 10.
13. If it's Hoyer.
I don't know. Yeah. Hoyer's a good backup.
I mean, we're expecting Hoyer, right?
I think this is a midway point.
Hoyer's not a good backup. He was a good backup 5 years ago.
He's a good backup in this offense because this offense is 5 years ago. You know what I'm saying? I think this is a midway point. Like, if this is what was the look at on this? Do you have that? Was it 6.5?
6.
6. So that, and then Hoyer probably takes us. If it's like Hoyer's announced in, it takes it across 10.
Yeah, this is Hoyer. No way. No way at Jones. After as bad as he looked going into the tunnel, no way he's taking the field. No way.
Should we lay it with the Packers right now?
Apparently there's 8.5s out there. I'm thinking about it. I think that's probably a bet. You got an early read on Chiefs Bucks, or is this one need to think about it? Need to get some information on the injury situation for the Bucks.
That, like you said, that total might be a little high.
Oof, it's already coming down. 46.5 at Penny.
All right, and then there's still a 48.5 in the Seahawks game. I'm just going to take that over right now.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
It's getting steam in the right places.
Okay.
Over 48.5, Seahawks, Lions.
Oh, it's 49 at Chris already.
Yeah. Small bet. I'm going to take a.
Yeah, that's interesting.
People are asking, if it's Zappy, is that
under money?
Is that better?
Browns Falcons.
I don't think he got a little preseason.
If it's Zappy, then I'm looking at I'm staring hard at an over 42.5 because
I loved him in college.
He's gonna make some mistakes, but he's gonna move the offense better than Hoyer. If it's Zappy, I'm over 42.5.
John Priest up 3 units. There we go. Hopefully, some people had some good weeks. Good job, and you know what? I'm going to make a small bet on Green Bay -9.
3 weeks in, I think, regardless of what happens, I have a winning week this week.
I'm going to middle that.
It would have been fucking all-timer if that Chargers game lands 46 instead of 48. I got greedy, Andy. I need to take that lesson, and I need to reflect on my decision making.
Congrats to anyone's teaser. Teasers looked good. Fuck you, NFLPassTV.com. Get out of my Get on my goddamn YouTube comments.
Jeez,
Got some
Louise.
good folks in here with some good ideas and good thoughts, and you guys you're ruining it. Is what you're doing. Other than that, good week, guys. Overtime.
Right,
it is overtime. Yeah, Brandon McManus is already kicked off. I'm guessing. Bring back.
Okay.
I know the porn bot was better than the stream bot.
Yeah.
So
Especially because it's not even a good stream.
Yeah, we'll catch you at halftime. Unless you're listening to this as a podcast.
That was
tomorrow.
worthwhile going a little longer, I think.
Yeah, unless you're it was a very there's a lot that happened this week, but also we will catch you at halftime Monday if you listen to this on